and welcome to the Undercovers cast. I'm Ben Gramato, along with Jenna Carlson, Paul Kasperzak, and Tommy Jambra. And we are getting closer to training camp. OTAs are continuing firing along. And guys, the big news of the evening and of the week, to everyone's surprise, Ed Oliver is going to stay a Buffalo Bill for the next 4 years. He signed a massive extension worth $68 million for 4 years. That makes him currently, I believe, like the 13th. He's going to be anywhere between the 11th, the 15th highest paid defensive tackle to start this year. But after all those cryptic messages in the offseason, he finally agrees to a deal and he gets the bag. So, guys, what are your thoughts on Ed Oliver staying a Bill?
I think Ed Oliver staying a Bill is, I think in my mind personally, I'm okay with it. I'm neutral on it. I think, he's been it has been inconsistent for a while with the Bills. So, he's either injured or he's just not playing well, or he has like this fantastic Thanksgiving game. And then after he eats the turkey, he forgets about there's a game next week. So it's inconsistent. I think the deal does good on being if he is consistent all year next year and has like an 8 to 10 sack season and has a ton of tackles for losses. And I think that's when the deal you can say it's good on being. If he has another year like this year, like 1 sack, 2 sacks, I don't think it's a good deal on being. To me, I feel like this deal is incentive based. Depending how good he does, that's the more money he gets. And if he doesn't do so well, it's probably on the left side of money that he gets.
Right. I'm the same way, Paul. Like I'm neutral on the idea, but I think like even though like I know people criticize his production, in Buffalo so far in his 3-4 year career. But I think that maybe like now that he's got the bag, I think now maybe he'd be more motivated to produce in our defense. He's got some dogs on our D line with him, so I think now like it's his time to shine to produce on our defensive line. So I'm all for it. Like let's hope he'll produce in our defense and go ahead.
Yeah. After sleeping on it, I'm just trying to think about the potential that he's going to have this upcoming season. After the Rams game, he had a very good game against the Rams last season, and then he had the high ankle sprain. So I'm wondering how much that hindered him throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see a healthier Ed Oliver in 2023. He's going to be more motivated. He's going to hear all this noise about everybody saying he didn't deserve it.
Right.
He's going to want to live up to the expectations that are being put onto him. Personally, I am okay that we re-signed him or extended him because we didn't have any defensive tackles past 2023.
Right.
Aside from Puna Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Unless he was a 1 year deal.
I think Puna was a 1 year deal.
Yeah, okay. I think it was. I was just going to say that.
Yeah, no defensive tackles past 2023.
Right.
So this was huge for us.
Yeah.
We were wondering, are we going to take a defensive tackle in the first round in 2024 be a wide receiver? And now we don't have to worry as much to take the best rated defensive tackle in the draft because we have one of our guys signed past this year.
Right.
Right. And I think this also, makes the draft strategy, make a lot more sense, when you consider that everyone was screaming for a defensive tackle because like you mentioned, Jenna, we didn't have any on our roster past next year. Now that we have Oliver, under contract, in my opinion, I won't even draft a defensive tackle probably until, mid rounds next year. And I would even look to maybe extend Daquan, extend Puna because, if you got one great defensive tackle, just kind of look at the Jets, kind of look at the Chiefs. I believe you just kind of need a space eater next to him to kind of let him do his thing. And, there was a lot of, talk about trading Ed and him, underperforming. throughout his first 4 years of his rookie deal. But, a lot of us fans also know that in 2020, he had to play without a proven nose tackle next to him. And then in 2021, when he got one back in the mix, I mean, he played a lot better. He had a better season. He kind of, got back.
Didn't live up to our expectations.
Yeah, he got back to his, more or less the rookie Ed Oliver that we saw. Let me pull up his stats real quick, just to see. Yeah, so he had 4 sacks last year. So I mean, 2021, and that's when he had Latulele, next to him. I feel like, yes, a lot of Bills fans, dislike Star Latulele because he didn't maybe necessarily live up to his contract, but he really was a good space eater. And Ed Oliver on the stat sheet had his best 2 years next to Star Latulele. And like you mentioned, Jenna, Oliver got injured, and that kind of hindered his play this year. And he even mentioned that he never really felt himself, but he was very explosive in that Rams game. Now the Apuna Ford next to him, another guy eating up the space. I think part of it too, like Paul, you mentioned, it is going to be a little bit for his potential, and they're hoping that he lives up to his number 9th overall draft status. But just looking at kind of where the other, successful teams build their defense, it's anchored on a great defensive tackle that can get up in the quarterback space. You look at the Rams, they had Aaron Donald, of course, the Chiefs, they have Chris Jones. So most of these top tier teams have someone like that. And I think that's what Bean's hope is. And to me, if this works out, it's a fantastic move because, I mean, DJ Reader, Quinnen Williams, and Wilkins all have to get their deals as well. So the Bills got Oliver, signed at a much cheaper rate, and hopefully he can perform that way. And to me, I'd like to see him, get to 8 to 10 sacks. But the real telltale to me is the playoffs. If he can step up and make a difference and get to Burrow and get to Mahomes and make those crucial plays, I think he'll earn his money.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm gonna. There's just right as they came on to right as we started, I was trying to think of what was Ed Oliver's 3-year career at Houston and compare it to his 5-year career here in Buffalo. And because I remember out of when he was drafted out of Houston, he was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to get the sacks. He was supposed to get the tackles for losses. Maybe his role has changed a little bit coming from Houston out of the American and then coming here to Buffalo, where he might not have to do as much as what he was as that he needed to do to help the Houston team in college. He had 13 sacks out of his 3-year career at Houston. In 5 years here, he has 14 and a half. So he has a sack more than what he had at Houston playing 3 years there. But a quick note, what he has done in his 5-year career is he's been able to hit the quarterback. He has 42 career hits, QB hits in his 5-year career here in Buffalo. So I think his role has changed from college to the NFL. He's the guy that's supposed to get pressure to the quarterback, not sack the quarterback.
I think now that when you have Sean McDermott calling the plays, I think they're gonna play him at different positions of the D line where they mismatches.
Move him around a little bit.
Move around, you find a mismatch on their offensive line, then you attack.
Right.
Well, and on that note, because we added a great veteran addition to our defensive line today, that once Vaughn comes back, that'll allow us to be a little bit more creative with our other personnel.
Right.
Even adding Greg Rousseau onto the inside.
100%.
His first inside snap against the Tennessee Titans, he had a sack.
Right.
So put him on the inside with Von Miller when he comes back, and
I mean, we still have Epinesa. Yeah. I mean, and you talk about the guy you signed today. I think all of us are kind of wondering. We were talking about in the spaces, like this was just kind of a random move, but there was a lot of theories about maybe this is for an edge. And Leonard Floyd's a name that's been mentioned a lot, and the Bills added him, and they got him for 2 years, which is actually nice. So, we have him for this year and next year.
Well, I think it's for 1 year.
I thought it was 2 years. I could have sworn it was 2 for $8.
Whoa! Did you get the numbers?
Yeah, I thought I saw the numbers already on Twitter. Yeah.
I thought I saw a 1 year deal too, Ben.
I
But
thought it was 1 year deal.
I thought it was
Leonard Floyd.
Maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe I looked at the wrong thing.
Maybe you saw 2 years. Maybe that second year's a void year.
maybe he has I don't know, like whatever you call it, that extra year.
It's a 1 year.
All right, yeah, you're right. It is a 1 year deal, so I was incorrect. My bad. I guess I could have sworn it was a 2 year deal, but I guess I'm incorrect. But either way, I mean, we added someone. I mean, who a lot of fans wanted, and he was Mike Clay's top available edge going to free agency.
Wow, he was ahead of Yannick.
I mean, Yannick is still available. Frank Clark is still available.
Yeah.
Justin Houston is still available.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other edges that really were signed, I guess, Darius Smith. I'm trying to think what other real big free agents were out there.
Melvin Ingram, Jadeveon Clowney.
Well, yeah, those guys are also still available. I'm just thinking who signed, but I mean, as far as this class, I mean, he's 30. He has 29.5 sacks over the last 3 years. He can play outside linebacker. He can also kind of play, the wide 9.
Yep.
He's got power. He's got speed and, bend, and he's got, some coverage ability too.
Correct.
So, I mean, I think, like you mentioned, Jenna, I mean, if you want to move Groot inside, I mean, if you want to play 3-3-5, if you want to do what a lot of fans have been calling the NASCAR package, and you just pretty much just Groot and Ed inside, and then you put Vaughn in.
Yeah.
You put Vaughn next to Floyd. Like, I mean, you can go a lot of different ways, with your configurations of this, your edge rushers.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that they might have added Leonard Floyd over some of the other guys because he has chemistry with Von Miller.
That's true. And yeah, that's a good point there, Jenna.
He knows what it's like to win a Super Bowl too.
Maybe had a say in this thing.
I think he did. If you listen to McAfee's show, he said, he asked him about Floyd, and Vaughn vouched for him. I think too could also be Yannick. I think Floyd maybe was a little bit cheaper than Yannick when it came down to it, but I actually think Floyd might be the better player in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that because the Bills signed Floyd. Like, I mean, I even talked about it a little bit, with my dad, who's a Colts fan, and like he said, there's a reason Andy didn't bring him back, because yes, he'll get his 1 to 2 sacks a game every 2 or 3 games, but other than that, like Yannick Ngakoue kind of disappears, and he's a liability against the run. Like, I know his stats are nice, but it's also about impact, and I feel like Floyd is just a very impactful player. Like, I mean, even if you go on my timeline, like I retweeted a clip of him just bull rushing Trent Williams, who's like the best offensive tackle in football. So he's got strength too. Like, I mean, I feel like even if Vaughn is out week 1, like Aaron Rodgers is still going to be very uncomfortable. And then Tommy, like you mentioned, with McDermott calling the plays, maybe we'll see a blitzing Milano, a blitzing Bernard, even Taylor Rapp, or maybe we'll see Poyer doing blitzes again,
Right.
like he used to.
Yeah. I mean,
What makes me smile?
adding it could mean a lot. Like you could have a top 5, top 4 defense in the league.
I said it. I mean, I think right now if you want to go through it, like defenses in the AFC, I would put us definitely in the top 5 of the AFC. And then NFL, like last year in the playoffs, I mean, it was pretty clear that our trenches got exposed, and we basically just did a lot of work to the trenches, and we got so much depth between offensive lines and defensive lines. And Tommy, you mentioned top units. I mean, I would say our defensive line is probably a top 10 unit right now.
I 100% agree with that in the league. 100% agree.
I mean, if you had to go through and rank your top 10 defensive lines, where would you put the Bills?
I would put them a solid 6 or 7 maybe in the league.
I mean, if we go through it, I would probably say,
5.
San Fran,
Yeah, San Fran,
Philly,
Dallas. You got to put Dallas up there, maybe 3.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh actually has a pretty good defensive line too.
Yeah, Pittsburgh does. I mean,
Cincinnati has a pretty
Yeah, I
decent
was
team.
gonna mention Cincinnati with DJ Reader and Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson.
yeah, they have a nasty front.
Giants, I think have a good one with
Yeah,
with Lawrence and I don't know if I'd put them above the Bills. Maybe we're like
No.
right next to each other.
yeah.
Miami's probably behind us. I mean, I think they're around that range. I mean, I guess because I'm thinking about these teams that I mean, I'd say we're probably about 7 or 8, Tommy.
Yeah, I agree.
The Chiefs, maybe. I mean, they got Chris Jones. I know maybe without Frank Clark, we're a little better. If they get Frank Clark, and I'd probably put them maybe a spot or 2 above us. But I think really the only ones you could say for sure is like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Dallas, Philly, San Fran. You got any others, Jenna? You got any defensive lines you'd put, you would take above ours? Maybe the I don't know. I don't think the Raiders have good defensive tackles, but
What about
needed.
What about Denver? Don't they have a pretty nasty D line?
nah, their defense is more built on their their secondary PS2. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd still put us up there. I mean,
Maybe the Chargers with Bosa, Mack. I don't know who their defensive tackle. I mean, maybe maybe their edges have us. I know they drafted Tulupu. I can't even pronounce his name. Tulupu, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think we're up there.
How about the Ravens?
I mean, they lost Calais Campbell. I don't love Adafe Owe. I think he's okay. Like, I don't think he's better than Groot or any of our edges.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who they have on the interior of the Ravens. I mean, actually, one that could be slept on is Cleveland because they got Myles Garrett and they added Dalvin Tomlinson, Siaka Ika, and Zadarius Smith. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What do y'all think about the Lions D-line?
That, I mean, it's solid. I don't know who the defensive tackle is. They didn't draft one, right?
Yeah.
Who are you talking about? Cleveland?
I was talking about the Browns.
The Browns?
Defensive line. Siaka Ika, Zadarius Smith, Myles Garrett, and Dalvin Tomlinson. That's pretty good.
That's going to be nasty.
Yeah, especially under Jim Schwartz. If they can be like, the cold front back in 2014. I don't know if you remember that defense, Tommy.
Yeah, I remember that defense.
That was an awesome defense. They gave Aaron Rodgers one of his worst games ever.
They did.
Picard Rambo had 2 picks. Hopefully, our defense can play like that week 1 in the Meadowlands.
Oh,
that would be amazing.
That would be a great way to open up the season.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, I guess speaking of the transition, all over Twitter, it's kind of just been a topic, a common discussion. Which AFC East team are you guys most scared of right now? And I can include the Patriots because they still had an okay offseason, and until Bill Belichick retires, I got to give them some respect.
Right.
You can give the Patriots some respect, but I don't see them winning more than 7. I have them around 7 or 8 wins, so I don't 100% think they're a big threat, but they could potentially be a threat. Like where we get them is that maybe if they catch us sleeping, then maybe we have one of those random off days that we can't perform or we only can score 10 points because the offense is not going. And we play one of these games kind of like against Detroit or like Cleveland last year where we just couldn't get anything going. That's where I think New England can be.
But who is making the playoffs out of these AFC East teams? Obviously besides the Bills, because I think the Bills are winning the division.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just saying that because it's the Bills podcast, but
I'm gonna say it's the Dolphins.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's the Jets because I had the Jets going to the playoff, or at least contending for a playoff spot. I don't have Miami contending for a playoff spot. I don't know why. I only panned out 9 wins for the Dolphins this season. So I think the biggest threat if you want to say the biggest threat to the Bills would be the Jets. It just depends on how Aaron Rodgers gels with his receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been at OTAs. I mean, he had that calf strain, so he's going. Just signs show something bad could happen to the Jets this season. It's just because they have an aging quarterback, and they just maybe one of the receivers get hurt because Alan Lazard always has like a hamstring or an ankle injury. So I think the Jets right now, if you look at their offense and who they have at quarterback, and their defense is, I would say,
that's
pretty
good.
top. I say their defense is top 10. I think they're the biggest threat.
All right, Tommy, you said Miami.
Miami.
You still believe in Tua and McDaniels?
Yeah, I think just because the Tua has a lot to influence this. If he's healthy throughout the whole year and he doesn't get injured, their offense still is dynamic. I mean, you have 2 of the best receivers on their roster, Waddle and Hill. So they have plenty of speed. I mean,
and then what if they get Dalvin Cook? I mean, that's still a possibility at the end of the day.
Get Dalvin Cook on their running back. So I mean, and they drafted, what was the running back they drafted?
Devon A-Chain.
A-Chain. You can't stop the A-Chain.
Yeah, if they got A-Chain there, like they have pieces that could maybe outscore some teams. If Tua, that's the big if Tua stays healthy. That's my thing. I think Dolphins.
Jenna, how are you feeling about these AFC East teams besides the Bills?
I'm more concerned about the Dolphins just because they have gone through the season and had sustained success with Tua. They made the playoffs last year. Their defense did get better. Let's face it.
Yeah.
They still have Christian Wilkins. Their secondary got better. Their linebacker group got better.
Yep.
Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
As much as we want to clown on him, he is an upgrade. Over Byron Jones.
Yep.
Or one of their corners. But Diggs will still take care of him. I still think that Diggs will take care of him.
That's true.
100%.
But they're still a threat. McDaniel, as much as we want to clown on him, he's still pretty good at scheming his wide receivers open and helping Tua. So we'll see. The Jets, their defense is the scariest to me. They have the question marks on offense. You know, Aaron Rodgers, he takes a while to warm up.
Right.
At the beginning of the season, he always gives
and then they got questions on the O-line too, right?
Yeah.
Even Miami does too.
Oh, yeah, they got huge questions.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Jenna.
I don't think that the Jets or Miami really approached their offensive line this offseason as much as the Bills did.
No, they didn't, because like I don't care what Jets fans, can say, adding Billy Turner, who was ranked like 60th or like, in 70th, whatever, out of like 75, qualifying tackles by PFF. I mean, that doesn't move the needle. And then I like the Joe Tippmann pick. I mean, I'm just concerned when you have Mekhi Becton, who doesn't want to move towards the right side, and he still has injury concerns, hasn't played or really proven himself. Dwayne Brown's like 40 years old and is, protecting Rodgers' blind side. So I just feel like, Jets fans are glossing over those tackle issues. Like when Brady went to Tampa Bay, he had Donovan Smith and Tristan Wirfs, who they drafted in the first round to protect their asset, 40-year-old quarterback. That's what Tampa Bay's GM did. They brought in one of the best tackle prospects in the draft, and Tristan Wirfs became an all-pro quickly. They still had Ali Marpet, Ryan Jensen, and the guard. What's the name of the guard? Is it Mason, the one they traded? No,
Shaq Mason?
Yeah.
no, actually, I don't think they had Mason. They traded for him from New England. I forgot who their other guard was, but regardless, they had one of the best offensive lines in football. Elijah Vera Tucker was very solid, but like other than that, Tipman's a rookie, so I mean he might be good, but he wasn't even the best center prospect coming out of the draft. I think it was John Michael Schmitz. I think they should have taken JMS. I mean, if they took JMS and signed, or I mean, I guess if they drafted Broderick Jones into the smart thing, but they got beat out by the Patriots on that thing. I mean, look, I honestly think the Jets, the Patriots, and the Dolphins are all going to be around the same spot because none of them have a Josh Allen, and I think the talent gap on those teams is all pretty close. Like the Jets, I think, are very strong on the back end of the defense and with Quinnen Williams, but they have holes, and I don't think they have as many weapons as they think they do. We'll see if Corey Davis can stay healthy and how Lazard and Hardman could do, but the only one who really scares me on their offense is Garrett Wilson and a healthy Breece Hall, but we don't know if Breece Hall is going to be healthy. And I think even Mike White, he showed last year with the Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson that he could be a competent quarterback. Well, now put him with a better offensive coordinator with more weapons. Like, I mean, I actually think even if Tua does go down, the Dolphins actually may even be better with Mike White because I think Mike White has better arm strength than Tua. Like, I think Mike White, I mean, hot take, if Matt Milano did not pile drive, Mike White into the face of the earth, like we would be having an entirely different discussion right now because if the Jets made the playoffs last year with Mike White, they don't trade for Aaron Rodgers. And we're having a completely different offseason discussion.
Right.
100%.
Actually, I heard that Mike White was actually struggling in Dolphins OTAs.
Oh, he was?
Ooh. Well, here's the thing. I'm not gonna get wrapped up in anything that's happening in short. And Mike White also, I mean, he's got to learn that offense. The McDaniel offense. He's got to get the chemistries. He's probably taking reps with the 2s and 3s, not throwing to Tyreek and Waddle. I mean, just the way they scheme their offense, the way those receivers get open. I think any quarterback could be successful with those receivers. Like, I mean, and I believe in Tua. I think they can win 10, 11 games with Tua, but I think the Jets are probably going to be right around there too. Even New England, like, don't sleep on the Patriots. If Mac Jones can get back to the Mac Jones that he was his rookie season, like, they have better weapons than they had his rookie season. Like, Juju is a solid number 2. I mean, Mike Gesicki is a decent red zone target. I mean, he's gotten his touches and touchdowns versus us even in the playoffs. So I would not sleep on New England. But I think all of these teams are probably similarly ranked.
If you look at it, every team, I mean,
it's really going to come down to the defenses, in my opinion. Which of these teams has the best defense?
Because if you look at each of these teams, Miami, Jets, Patriots, they all have questions all over their offense. I think each of those teams also have questions at quarterback. I mean, can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? I mean, is Aaron Rodgers going to be the 2-time MVP Aaron Rodgers that he was at Green Bay? And the question with Miami is, can Tua stay healthy? So I think every team in this division have a question at quarterback except us. Most of these teams, if you look at the Jets, the Dolphins, the Patriots, have questions at O-line. The Bills, not so much.
Well, they still do because we haven't seen the offensive line in action, but I would say we addressed them a little bit more than the other teams.
Right. So you look at where the Bills and rank against most of the teams out of all the 3 teams in the AFC East. I think the Bills are definitely the top in the division still, and I think they're still going to be the top in the division for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I just feel like this offseason, even every team got better in this division. I mean, whether it's significantly better, marginally better, we'll see. I mean, the Patriots are going to have a very, very strong defense, but like you mentioned, Paul, their offense is going to have serious questions. Now, Bill O'Brien has been a very successful offensive coach and play caller at multiple different spots. So if he's able to get something out of Mac Jones, like, I mean, he'll probably get a head coaching job somewhere else. That's the first thing. But the second thing, the Patriots can be halfway decent, and they're gonna be a team that, even you've seen it the last couple of years, every week they play. I mean, I don't think I've seen, besides the Bills, I'll speak as a Bills fan because we've done it, but I don't really see teams blow out the Patriots, even with Mac Jones. Like, if they lose, it's a close game, and that's just because their offense couldn't do enough. But, like, remember that game against Cincinnati? They had a chance to win that game. The Raiders games. I mean, there's a lot of other games that New England was in last year where they had chances to win because they're a team that, I mean, I feel like the Jets this year, every team is going to be gunning for them because, kind of like how the Bills were last year, I mean, we were kind of circled, but because of the Patriots, I feel like they aren't really getting that attention. They can kind of fly under the radar. And I mean, if you're not paying attention, I mean, they'll take a game from you. And if you're not ready and you don't bring your A game, like, they're a team that's got a great defense, and I guess we'll see what O'Brien cooks up on offense.
Ben, don't the Patriots have like one of the toughest schedules in the league?
They have one of them, but I mean, I think we have one of the toughest schedules too, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
every team.
Like,
in
we have
AFC
this.
has a tough
I mean,
schedule.
all of us AFC East teams, we basically play an identical schedule. The only difference is we play the Chiefs and Bengals. I think the reason their schedule is tougher, Tommy, is because they play.
They play the Chiefs too.
No, they play the Chiefs too. But the reason their schedule is probably harder is because they play us twice, and that's adding to their strength of schedule. You got to keep that into account. Ours is going to be weaker because they're subtracting from our strength of schedule. But like Jenna mentioned, the only teams, the Patriots came in third last year, I believe. So they'll be playing Pittsburgh, right? From that division, and they're playing Indianapolis. I guess Indianapolis, I mean, that's a weaker game than any of our, that's a way, easier game than any of our games, Tommy. So that should definitely lower their strength of schedule.
Right. I agree.
Right. You know what I've been thinking a lot about the Bills' journey throughout the AFCs throughout the past few years.
Right.
2020, they stood alone. They were the only team in the AFC East that could hold a lick towards any of the other AFC teams. 2021, it got a little bit tougher. The Patriots, they gave us a little run for our money, literally, in the win game. That posed a little bit of a threat towards us. So we played them in the playoffs, beat them. 2022. It was the Miami Dolphins year. That was the year that they gave us a run for our money. The Jets kind of did a little bit, but it was mainly the Dolphins that posed a threat. We played them in the playoffs, beat them. This year, now it's the Jets that are posing a threat towards us. So I think that they're going to give us a little bit of a run for our money this season, and then we might play them in the divisional round and beat them. And then
so you're saying there's a pattern here, Jenna, based on the last two wild card rounds?
Yeah, I think so. So I think we might play the Jets in the wild
card. All right,
round.
Jets fans, get ready for a wild card loss.
Yeah.
The script is in. We could see the patterns.
After that, we're going to complete the ritual, and that means we're going to win the Super Bowl this year because we got through all the teams that we needed to.
We completed the challenge.
Yeah, we faced all our demons.
The final one is to beat ourselves, which we do anyways. Exactly. So
we're going to fulfill the prophecy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you look at, kind of just quickly back to Ben's point with Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator with Mac Jones when Mac Jones was at Alabama, and that's when Mac Jones actually played the best at Alabama. So maybe it's a big maybe. If Bill O'Brien can get the best out of Mac Jones, then the Patriots are a sleeper team. But until maybe week 5 of next year, I'm not going to say New England is a threat to the Bills. I had to give them a good chunk of the season before I say, watch out for New England. They could be a problem.
Right. I agree.
All right. We did have some other news. This today, the Bills Stadium.
Yep.
Finally groundbreaking. What do we think?
Well,
about
the
that?
official groundbreaking. I mean, they've been, digging, dirt out of the ground for the last 2 or 3 weeks, Tommy, maybe a month.
Oh, yep, a month. Yep, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Our guy, Mike Bunch, shout out to him from the Going Deep podcast. Yep. He's been out there, I mean, every day, kind of, getting the scoop on what's going on. So if you want to check out, get pics or videos, he's usually, posting some updates.
Thank you, Mike, for doing that.
Yeah,
Mike is great. He's a co-host with our friend Kevin. They have an amazing podcast over on Cover One, so make sure to check that out. The Going Deep podcast. It's on tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Yep. But yeah, what do we think about the new groundbreaking the stadium today?
Well, I mean, that video they released was awesome. I'll just say that's the first thing I had to say. The Bills social media, they do a great job. So shout out to them, by the way. They're always doing a great job with content. But the thing I am most happy about is, I don't know if you saw Brother Bill's tweet, Tommy, but they're keeping the Buffalo statues outside. So that's what I'm happy about.
Yeah. You guys saw the cake. That nice little cake.
Yeah.
That's what the little stadium rendering was.
Yep.
It was a little cake. And they had a bunch of little tables out there too. Outside of the cake.
One thing I didn't know about the new stadium was that it's resembling the old War Memorial Stadium and the old the rock pile. I didn't know that until
Isn't the rock pile the War Memorial? Or is that wait, or is the War Memorial the hockey stadium?
They used to play at War Memorial. I think the War Memorial, then I think it was the rock pile, then it was Highmark, I think, right? I believe that's the 3 stadiums the Bills have played.
Oh no, the War Memorial is the rock pile. I just looked it up.
Okay, cool. So it has the shape of both of those stadiums, which is really
they're the same stadium, but the rock it has the shape of the rock pile, right? That's what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's cool.
So it kind of puts kind of old Buffalo history back into the new stadium, which is nice.
Are they doing anything? I guess you don't really want to honor the current field because of all the disaster that's happened there, but are they doing anything to honor the current stadium? Do you know?
Not that I know of.
Nothing I know of. No, I think maybe.
Well, I know at one point they're gonna make it like a museum. I think, aren't they over there?
Really?
Oh, okay.
Didn't you? I thought there was a tweet about it. Like, I gotta go back and look for it.
That's cool.
I think I've heard something along that lines.
I'm excited to see all the amenities that they put out. I would love for them to do a little Buffalo History Museum.
That would be cool.
Buffalo Bills History Museum. That would be really sick.
So cool.
I know in Green Bay they have their own little history museum, and it's kind of like.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do at the current stadium. I can't find the tweet now, but I guess I'll try to post it up on our Twitter if I can find it to link it.
That'll be sick. That'll bring in more tourist attraction.
That's true. Hopefully, I wonder what they're gonna do if they're just gonna keep Ralph where he is. I guess they could if they make a museum over there.
Did confirm the grass field too, right? It's gonna be grass.
Yep.
Yeah, they confirmed that, so that's awesome.
So did confirm this. I don't know what everybody thinks about. They're keeping the name, the stadium name.
Well, I think Highmark owns the rights for now, so I think that's why. But it's fine.
I'm not the biggest fan of the name. I think
Right.
it's very bland.
I think so too. I think
I mean, I don't even really call it Highmark. I still kind of refer to it as a Ralph.
I
Mhm.
always call it the Ralph. It's
Yeah.
you got to name it that.
It will always be the Ralph,
Yeah.
Tommy.
Always will be the
No,
Ralph.
be the Ralph. You got it. Yep, it'll always be the Ralph.
Yeah. I guess the
And,
new one can be called the Terry.
Yeah. The Terry.
Uh,
Or the Pagula. Yeah.
But yeah, that's exciting to get that going. Hopefully, we'll see more stuff in the coming months of how it's progressing.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully, we'll have be able to have a banner hanging there by the time we open, right?
Right.
It'd be nice, to hang one at the current stadium, but we only got a couple more years to do that, so hopefully it happens soon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Did you
So
guys see the video of
we got what, like 3 more seasons, including this year, right?
July of
Yeah.
2026 is going to be
Okay.
is the estimated time of finish.
nice.
Yeah. Did you guys see the video of Terry Pagula tearing up? He
Yeah.
was reading
yeah.
out the names of the Buffalo victims from last night.
Yeah, that was
That was really sweet.
I love Terry.
yeah. Terry's awesome.
He's a very emotional man. I love it.
Yeah.
He's done a lot for this community between all the teams, pushing for the stadium. I know, however you feel about public funding or whatever, but he's kept the team in the area. I mean, he's built the both teams up into winning franchises. I know the Sabres haven't been good recently, but they're on the way. The Bills had been terrible for so long, and I mean, they really turned it around. So I really don't think you can criticize Terry. So I mean,
Terry, thank you for all that you've done for the Buffalo community. So
100%.
Thank you
Yeah.
for keeping us here for 30 more years and
Yeah,
creating
I know,
more.
right?
I mean,
Right.
that was
Yeah, my
scary
kids
when
I
there
don't
was
know.
all those rumors.
Yeah, I don't know if I could
leaving.
root for the Austin or Toronto Bills. However, it would have ended up.
Yeah, I hope the Bills are in Buffalo for as long as possible. I want my kids and my grandkids to be able to see them.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
100%.
Yeah. Also in the news, we had a little bit of a surprise guest on the Pat McAfee show, Brandon Bean. He made an appearance, and what other question are Pat McAfee and his little goons gonna ask? Other than DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Of course, he asked about DeAndre Hopkins and if Brandon Bean was looking into him. And Brandon Bean said that they're not out on DeAndre Hopkins, that they're always looking to sign somebody of his caliber. What do you guys think? Does this mean that we're not out yet?
Look at it. I mean, right as the Leonard Floyd signing happened, I mean, that's when all the D-Hop kind of kind of like simmered, slowed, whatever. And 4 hours, almost completely 4 hours, 5 hours later, Brandon Bean just says we're not out of we're considering a Hopkins signing. I think that's when
He didn't say he's considering it really. It's kind of more or less, I guess it really depends on DeAndre, but if it works out, he'd be open to it.
right.
Like, he won't be against it. That's what I think more or less he said. I mean, it does depend on the cap, but he also mentioned, talking about guys who have performed and made plays against the Bills in the past, or talk about Damian Harris, and that, sometimes that's a thing when bring in free agents, and he talked about that Hail Murray play. So,
yeah,
I mean, maybe there's something to it. I mean, I think I'll just put it this way. Last year, Rappaport said something on the show that Bean is always in on everyone, whether you know it or not. And I think that was actually in response to when they signed Von Miller, because it kind of came out of left field. So I just don't think you can put anything past Brandon Bean at this point. I as far as, certain, reasonable players and maybe players you don't think are reasonable to get. But the cap needs to be maneuvered, and I think DeAndre needs to take a reasonable deal, which is, what we've been discussing for however many weeks. So, I mean, it really just comes down to DeAndre, I think, Tommy.
It's just, if he wants to win and go to a championship, then hey, Buffalo is the right place for him.
Yeah, he can be a Buffalo Soldier, right?
He could be the Buffalo Soldier that everybody wants. But if he's chasing the money, then I don't see it happening here. If he's chasing the money.
Yeah. According to Ian Rappaport, the Bills signed Leonard Floyd to a 1-year deal up to $9 million.
Ooh. I just have to see how that is against the cap. Probably incentive based.
I think we have like $3 million left in cap space. So it's
after the signing.
Yeah.
Okay.
After the Leonard
yeah,
Floyd
you're not
signing.
getting D-Hop for $3 million. You'd have to do a lot more restructuring. I mean, I'm not against it. Like, I think, that's a move you make. If you feel like you're a championship team, and I think the Bills are that close, but I guess it just comes down to what D-Hop wants.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, I talked to Greg Thompson today, and he said that with extending Daquan Jones and Micah Hyde, they can get about $9 million out of that.
Oh, okay.
How long would those extensions be? Would they be like 2-year deals, 1-year deals?
I don't know. With Micah Hyde, it's probably a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably want to match him up with Jordan Poyer.
Yeah, you
Daquan Jones.
What
was that?
Because, like I said, we only have one defensive tackle under contract next year, which is Daquan.
Well, we could always extend Puna too, right?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, we could.
Well, okay, but not for. I guess this is cap related, so yeah.
But then again, Micah, you want to extend him to go out with Poyer because their contracts merged together, which they can go out together, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I still can see us making a trade for a receiver, maybe someone who's an expiring deal. I mean, maybe they aren't getting wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 money, but I mean, I don't know, maybe someone like Michael Pittman who, doesn't have a great quarterback and is looking for a new deal. Indy's probably not close this year. They still got to pay Jonathan Taylor, so maybe a player like that might be available too.
Right. I kind of want to go over some other big news that's been reported for Wednesday. Madden, the cover for Madden is out, and I wanted to go over your thoughts on possibly rumors it being Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I cannot wait. Like, I've been playing the newest Madden, and I haven't played Madden since I think the last Madden I bought. I didn't even buy the newest one. I just bought like the EA Game Pass, which was like $5 the first month. I was just playing it, just because I haven't played Madden and I wanted to get back into it because I wanted to buy the new Madden. And ironically, Josh is now on the new Madden, so I have even more reason to buy it. But the last one I bought, I think, was Madden 19, which was like 5 years ago, I believe, 6 years ago. So, it's been a minute since I bought a Madden, but now I got a reason to. Like, I don't care what people say. Like, that stupid curse doesn't exist. Like, blame the Madden, or EA developers for allowing Cleveland fans to vote Peyton Hillis on the cover. Like, he had no business, respectfully, being on the cover of Madden, even though he had one okay year for a running back. Like, that was just insane, the fact that he got on the cover. There's no curse. Mahomes won it the year he was on the cover.
Yep.
Brady won MVP and had 500 passing yards. He lost the Super Bowl, but he still, he had, I think, 33 points or whatever, however much they lost by 8 or whatever. He still put up numbers, and they won the Super Bowl the next year, and he won another Super Bowl 2 years after that. So Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowls since his curse. He's been on the cover twice. Brady's been on the cover twice. Like, I don't care. This is huge. Like, 4 or 5 years ago, like, to think that a Bills quarterback would be on the cover of Madden. I mean, if you would have told me that, Tommy, I would have said you're crazy. Like, it's just awesome to think, how far we've come as a franchise and how our quarterback is, the cover of the football video game.
That's big stuff right there.
One interesting nugget I just popped in my head just to brag. Just to brag a little bit. Josh Allen is on the cover of Madden. Aaron Rodgers has never been on the cover of Madden in his career. So a several time MVP winner and a Super Bowl winner hasn't been on the cover of Madden, and now Josh Allen's on the cover of Madden. Congratulations! I think it's a moment for us to celebrate.
Yeah,
that Josh Allen is on the cover of Madden. I know to maybe some of the older viewers, it's like, it's just a video game. Why does it matter? It matters because it's the Bills. All we've gone through over the last year and that drought and that horrible 17-year drought. Now we have a quarterback that can actually get us to the Super Bowl. So I think it's a huge moment for us Bills fans personally to celebrate.
Well, I'll just say this. To be fair to Rodgers, Peyton was I don't believe was ever on a Madden cover. Okay. I think Breeze was, but Big Ben never was on a Madden cover. They're actually, I think, I got to think about it. I know Favre was, but there seemed to be a time where they just weren't putting quarterbacks on the Madden covers. Like, it was Calvin Johnson, AP, Richard Sherman, then OBJ, then it was Gronk. Like, AB was on a cover too. Like, they kind of weren't putting quarterbacks on the cover for a while. But there's been some legends who have graced the cover of Madden. He's going to be now immortalized in Madden history, NFL history. And hopefully he follows the same footsteps of Mahomes of winning a Super Bowl his Madden season. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Maybe it's a sign of something. Like, I don't know. We us Bills fans sometimes like to point out random things as signs, but maybe this is a sign of something to come. It's all in the script, guys. It's all in the NFL script.
Yeah. Breaking news, Leonard Floyd had actually turned down money elsewhere to play with the Bills.
Whoa.
Well, she's chasing a ring. Hopefully D-Hop follows in the same footsteps as Floyd.
Come on, D-Hop.
Tommy, we got anything else on Madden, on the stadium on Floyd tonight?
I think we covered pretty much everything we need to cover. Do you guys got anything else?
Can't really think of anything else that's going on in the league. No, not really. There's Indianapolis Colts player
Isaiah Rodgers, yeah.
Suspended for gambling.
What's crazy, what I heard is that he plays like hundreds of bets, and it even involved his own team. Like,
really?
Yeah. So, you definitely gotta crack down. I would actually be shocked if he played in the NFL again with something like that. Like, he could catch a permanent ban, because that is significant. Like, I know the Lions had an issue. We'll see if there's going to be more players get caught, or maybe they're getting caught up. But that was another good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Jenna. He was slotted to be their number one corner this season. Now it's up to Julius Brents, their rookie. I think they drafted 3 corners in this draft, which was kind of crazy. Like, that's they probably knew it, but like, now it makes sense why you would go ahead and draft 3 corners. They had like 10 picks or something, so they had a lot of draft picks, but still, like, now we'll see. They got a young team. It's not like I think that's gonna end their season, but it is. It is kind of sad. It is unfortunate. That's something you can't be doing as an NFL player. Like, I get the whole gambling thing being available and how the NFL, not really supports it, but how they kind of promote it. But there's no rules against gambling. There's certain rules you got to follow. You can't bet on NFL games because it's kind of like insider trading. Like, you have inside info that other people don't know, and that could just ruin the integrity of the NFL if that happens. And then, like, if they did allow that to happen, like, I mean, how do you know that he's not, trying to throw games and, miss plays on purpose, because of that gambling aspect. So, like, you definitely got to crack down. It'll be interesting, I guess, to see what his suspension looks like, but I think it's going to be at least similar to the Ridley suspension. But I think that's probably it. Tommy, Paul, and Jenna, we did a lot of undercovering today. We got the Buffalo Basements coming up again on Thursday with Matt and Pat.
Yep.
So they'll have another show. They had a great show on Thursday. So to all our viewers, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check it out and follow us on Twitter. We do almost nightly Twitter spaces. So you can always come and interact with us, talk to us. But thank you, and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Go Bills.
Bills.